Hey, we're back! And we got another story for you. And this time, it's another appearance of Jesus after he was crucified, buried, and they found his tomb empty. This time, we find two folks on the road that are having a pretty bad day, obviously. And Jesus shows up. So are you guys ready to tell the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Go team. The story today takes place on the road to Emmaus, where Jesus' disciples, two of them, were walking and reminiscing about their teacher as they were sad about his passing. They reminisced and told stories about their great teacher and all that had happened while they were in Jerusalem.
Remember when he would say a prayer over the food and he'd just take a real long pause before he finished it? Yeah. That was great.
When suddenly they were approached by another traveler.
Whoa. It's pretty great.
Hello, gentlemen. Who are you talking about? It was none other than Jesus. Now you would have thought that at Jesus' appearance they would have been filled with great joy, but they didn't recognize him.
Ooh, maybe he's wearing a disguise.
You think he was wearing a disguise?
Yeah.
I wonder what that would have looked like. Hello there, it's me, a fellow traveler. Who was it you're speaking of? Anyone you'd recognize, maybe? Actually, you know what? It probably wasn't a disguise. He probably looked very normal because it doesn't say he looked different. They didn't recognize him. But it did say their heads were downcast because they were so sad.
I'm just so sad. I'm just so sad.
That's probably what it was. Hey guys, who are you talking about there?
Didn't you know anything? Man, haven't you heard what just happened in Jerusalem? Come on, read a paper. Jesus, we hoped he was the Messiah. He was killed, handed over to the authorities, and crucified. Well, he was buried, and now his tomb is empty. Rumor has it, some women who travel with us, they said they saw him alive, but we didn't see it, which is strange because we're pretty observant.
I've heard of the Messiah, yes. But isn't that how the Messiah works? I mean, last I checked, wasn't it like he came here, he suffered transgressions, he would be handed over to the authorities, he would die, but then he'd come again? I mean, from your own words, Jesus did say he'd come back, right? That's what you said? Like today? Basically today you said he'd come back?
But you don't need to tell me his teachings. I was there, remember? And if he came back, I think I'd recognize him, and he'd probably even appear to me. Oh, can you move back to where you were standing? Now the sun's like right up in my face.
Well, where are you heading? Can I walk with you?
Sure. I want to fill you in all about Jesus.
Yeah, but let's go. So Jesus walked with them and taught them like he used to, telling them all the things that revealed the truth about the prophets and the law. So you guys get this, right? Love God, love your neighbor. That's basically it, right? You've heard this before, right? This isn't a new concept for you. You know, set the captive free, heal the sick. That's basically what God's been getting at. I mean, throughout the whole story, right? You've heard this before, right?
Yeah. Yep. Jesus used to say it just like that.
Great. Well, it was really great seeing you. I'm gonna hit the old dusty trails. Thanks, fellas. Lovely to catch up.
Do you wanna go get some dinner? You seem pretty cool. Wanna go get some dinner?
Well, I have always been into eating dinner, as you know, breaking bread. Yeah, let's go. Let's go eat dinner. So they sat to eat, and Jesus said a blessing over the meal. For these gifts, Lord, for these traveling companions, these great guys that it feels like I've known for years even, for this meal. We give you thanks.
Ooh. was him?
No.
Well, I kind of had suspicion.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
No.
You know what? It doesn't matter. We should tell somebody.
Okay.
And that's basically what happened. The two disciples saw this, recognized what happened, and they had to real quick run back to the other disciples and tell them all that they seen. That they had seen Jesus. He was back. Cool story. What stuck out most to me in this story, though, was not that Jesus did something amazing. He seems to do that pretty regularly. What stuck out to me was that in the midst of the disciples' sadness, in the midst of their grief, in the midst of their disbelief and frustration, Jesus shows up. Jesus shows up in the midst of grief. Jesus shows up when we're full of doubt. Jesus shows up when we're sad. That's really great news. I know that in the midst of all this, it can be hard to see Jesus. I mean, we know Jesus is in the midst of this, of staying home and the stories and the loved ones and all the people who are struggling in the midst of all that's going on in the world. But I'm really relieved that Jesus is still here. I still struggle, though, because in the midst of hard times, I can admit, in times in the past where I've been felt alone or sad, times not too similar to these times are kind of unique, but I've looked at those times, and I remember in the midst of those times, I was saying to myself, man, it would be great if Jesus would just show up and say, don't be afraid. Say, hey, it's going to be okay. And it was hard. It's hard to see Jesus when we're hung low, when we're hanging our heads in sorrow. But that doesn't mean he's not there. He's there. As we see in the story, he's there the whole time. And sometimes, just like in this story, the times when we recognize that Jesus was there in the worst of times is after it's over. It's after the disciples break bread. They're like, how did we not recognize he was there? That's how it works for me, at least. Sometimes in the really hard times in my life, I didn't feel Jesus' presence in the midst of it. But afterwards, I looked back and realized, man, there were people who were caring for me. Whoa, the people who broke bread with me. Whoa, the comfort I received from strangers. Wow, Jesus was there all over the place. That's how it works sometimes. So in the midst of this, where is Jesus at work? Where is Jesus caring? Who are the Jesus people in your life right now? Who are the people who are caring for their neighbors, who are looking out for us, who are reminding us we're going to get through this? Let's remember those people and give thanks for them. And when you break bread, when you guys get to have a meal, give thanks because Jesus is present in this, always present in this. Think of the people who help. Think of the people who walk with you. Think of the people who share these days with you. And remember, Jesus is present, very real, in them and in your midst. Who are you seeing that reminds you of Jesus? Because he's still there. He's always with us, especially in challenging times. So that's our message this week. Take peace and comfort and healing and hope from this. Jesus is with us in the tough times, even when we can't see him. So who did you relate with in the story? What was something that surprised you? Share that with your family and have a great day. Bye.